guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, please subscribe down below. And today I'm going to be telling you what brushes you should use on what part of your face and what brushes would go best on what part of your face. Now before you go blowing up my comment section, tell me I'm wrong, this is just my opinion, okay? This is just what I feel like would be the best for this part of your face, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. These are just the brushes that I have found work for me in that spot, in that area of my face. And this was inspired by my best friend. I just feel like the ones that I'm sharing with you today are going to help you get the most blended, beautiful, like, I know what the hell I'm doing look that you could possibly have. This is just what I found works for me, and this may help you out, so I wanted to share. Thank you to Paige Pagano and Rebecca Martin for commenting on my last video. I really appreciate your guys' support. Remember to leave a comment down below so I can shout you out next in my video. The first person to comment on my video gets a shout out. Sorry. Don't forget to subscribe, because when we hit 500 subscribers, I am doing a giveaway, and that will either be the blow dryer I got in my BoxyLux, which retails for about 80 bucks, and a $40 palette, which, I mean, it's a pretty good deal, or the Jeffree Star mystery box, the next one that's coming out, whenever that comes out, which is a $70 value, which is pretty good. Yeah, so let's just subscribe, like, and subscribe, like, and subscribe. So I actually got this idea from my best friend. She didn't tell me to do this, but back when I did the my best friend does my makeup, I realized that you know, not everybody has a great understanding of, like, even though they like makeup, even though they enjoy it, they don't understand what works best for what. Like, it just doesn't, it's not something that comes naturally. And so I figured today I'd show you what brushes work best for what. Now, I'm telling you this, but I want you to take all of it with, like, a grain of salt, because just because it works best for me doesn't necessarily mean it will work best for you. But this is just a roundabout idea of what brush is used for what I personally feel works best for what, and maybe it'll help you along your makeup journey. If you're sitting here like, I'm interested, I want to learn, but I don't know how to use certain things, you know? For me personally, if I'm going to set my lid with a light color, I'd probably use something like this, only because it's not going to be something that's going to cause a lot of like difference to your eyelid, and this will just help get the full set a lot faster. It won't take as much effort to set your eye, and also it's super fluffy, so it will give it that blended out look. Something like this that's super fluffy, either one of these, is going to be basically the same thing. It's going to be when you want a certain color that you want to have a large amount of pigment on your eye, because it is so big and fluffy. Like, let's say, let's go into this color right here. Because it is so big, you're going to notice that it takes up it covers a lot of your lid space. But also it's got tapered edges, so it'll start to blend that color out for you. And this is the cheapest set from Morphe that they sell. It doesn't have any names on it. On any of the brushes from the set, it just says Morphe. But just know, even if you find one at the Dollar Tree, that black one was e.l.f. Literally just a big fluffy brush. Like I said, this is just what works for me. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, but in general, I feel like basic rules apply. This is the same concept as the bigger one, only it's just a little bit smaller. So like before, it's going to help you blend out the color that you want to pick up, just in a more targeted area. It's not going to blend that color quite out as far. It's not going to reach as far because the brush is smaller. So you're still getting that fluffy blend, just not quite as far. Now this one is, I think it's called a pencil brush. It's a very, very, very small fluffy brush type thing. It's got a little fluff, but it's fairly small. Like it's gonna do the same thing, just in a very targeted area. Basically, you can place the color down exactly where you want it. You can do detailed work with this. Because you are making such a small line, it is easier to clean up. If you want to do detailed little designs on your eye, I also think it's great for under the eye because you can get very close to your lash line and be very precise. Like I said, this isn't like a foolproof, like ironclad rule. These are just my opinions. I think they work best for this specifically. As you can see here, I wanted the black mostly on my lid. I didn't want it like all over my brow bone and like making a giant mess. I just kind of wanted it specifically in that like region, and that brush helped me focus it right there. And then I can take the brush that's just a little bit bigger and use it to blend out that black so it kind of fades into that lighter color. And then we can take the even bigger brush that's going to kind of distribute the product even more evenly because it's so fluffy. See? And then you've got like a nice gradient there. Just makes it blend really nicely, and then by the time it gets up to your brow bone, it's like basically matching the concealer that you placed down. Now, I actually seen this on Jeffrey's channel when he was revealing his second collection with Morphe. But if you guys have been subscribed to my channel for a really long time, you know that I've already been doing this. And I think it's kind of cool that I thought of an insider thing that people are doing. Like, apparently Lipstick Nick does this, and I do it. I've been doing it since I got the Essence liner that I had such a hard time with. In order to get a very precise and like spot on line, you can take it on this little bitty brush that's going to help you get like the exact line you want without going overboard, because that is very easy to do. I'm sure companies make brushes this small, but you know, I'm going cheap and affordable, so sorry, apparently my neighbors decided they had to like really push their engines to get into the driveway. I know you can't even really see this because I've got like a black line, or black smoky eye, but this, like literally just, I got this from Walmart in the craft section for like $1 for all of these, and it will be the most precise eyeliner you will ever have. Amazing. Like, I'm so glad I thought of that, and it makes me even happier to know that it's actually a thing that people do, and I'm not just like super crazy. I'm going to go ahead and put my primer and my, I'm going to do my other eye, my primer and my concealer and foundation on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and put my powder on too. A lot of people think you need separate brushes for everything, and that's just not true. Now, you can if you really, really want to, but it's not a necessity. Like this brush, excuse me, this brush I think is completely useless in a kit. I have used it to put foundation on when I'm like doing a like creative look and I need to pack on the foundation so I can like pack color on there. And I've also used it to put a face mask on, but like it's really not necessary because that doesn't really blend out your makeup. You're still going to need to go in with a beauty blender or another brush of some sort. And I really don't like blending my makeup, my foundation with a brush anyway. We're just going to ignore that mess right there because it's in a stage of, you can't cover me up, you're not my real dad, you're not going to tell me what to do. Okay, now the best brush that I have found, what I'm liking in the moment right now, is this guy for contour. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. I just think for me, it's been giving me the nicest look. And again, for powder on my face, to set my face, you can use a brush. If you do, I recommend something like kind of fluffy like that, or maybe even a little bit more tapered like that if you're going to, but you really don't need a brush to set your face. You can use your beauty blender, your beauty sponge, just tap it right on there and it will stick nicely to the beauty blender because of the fact that it's wet. But like, see, I'm getting a nice cut right there. I mean, it's not so harsh that like it looks unnatural, but it's a nice enough cut that like I don't have to go back in and blend anything out if I don't want to. It's giving me a nice contour. I have a fairly small forehead. My hairline comes down pretty far, so this is nice. It still gives me, one, it blends really nice and gives it that like ombre effect to where it looks like, you know, I'm catching sun in all the right places, but also like it's small enough that it's not going all the way down to my eyebrow. Because I have such a short hairline that, you know, that becomes an issue for me, as brushes tend to be too big. For bronzer, I've been using a big fluffy brush like this because I feel like my contour is pretty, you know, blended and whatnot, but this just kind of helps the glow reach a little further, blend out the contour just a little bit more, and make it look, you know, not just a shadow, but I'm just naturally tan and beautiful. Plus, this brush kind of has sort of a blunt edge to where I can use the leftover product to kind of contour my nose without having to get more product, or, you know, it's pretty good. Now, I don't always use blush. Blush is one of those things that I think most of the time you can go without. You don't really need. And when you do go in with blush, you don't want to go super heavy-handed. Some blushes can tend to make you look like a clown. So actually, I've really been loving this one because it's loose, kind of, you know, if that makes sense. Like the brush isn't like tightly wound, so you're not going to get so much pigment. Like on this, I could go in with a tighter brush, something where the bristles were closer together and picked up more pigment, and it really wouldn't matter. But there are some blushes you just dig into and you're like, I did not want all that. Now I've got to take the time to blend it out. And with this brush, it just gives you a nice wash of color, and you can even build it up just a little bit to the exact like opacity that you want without going too heavy-handed. I mean, I guess you could just keep layering and keep layering and keep layering, and eventually it would be too much, but it's actually pretty nice. There are some brushes I just don't find necessary in a kit, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm going to take this and go back under my eye. There are certain brushes in like the eye sets that I see, and I just look and I'm like, I don't even understand the use for that. I mean, clearly, it's just my opinion. You know, my opinion isn't the end-all be-all. There are some people who will get the same exact brush that I'm talking about and think that is the most genius, wonderful invention ever, and they're so glad that a brush was invented like that. But like, see this brush? You can get right in on the lower lash line and get real nice, because like, you know, I'm going in with black, like straight black right now, and that's not something you, I mean, maybe you do. For this look, that's not something that I want all the way down on my face. I want it more focused right there where it's at. And this brush, again, it's nice and fluffy, and it's tapered so that it fits right into your crease, and it just fits the curvatures of your eye the way it's supposed to. It just fits so nicely in all the spaces. Like even right here, you have your cheekbone and you don't want, you know, you still don't want, well, maybe you do. Maybe some looks you do. You want your eyeshadow to come all the way down on your cheeks. But this one tapers in, so like the bristles no longer touch this part of your face. And you're allowed to focus that color right there where you're placing the actual brush. You know? You catch what I'm laying down? You smell what I'm supplying here? Like this brush, I don't see a huge use for it, unless you're going to use it on your face somewhere. It's just this, it's a really, really fluffy brush, but like it's completely flat. So like, again, it's like, it doesn't fit the curvature of your eye. It's just completely flat. So you're like, I don't know. I don't think you'd get the best blend with it on your eye. I don't see it working super well on your lid. It's just me, unless you want it on a certain spot, like maybe here where you're trying to cut your crease and you're blending and it would blend up but not down because the bristles in. Maybe, I don't know. I don't see a use for this one. I'm not going to cut my crease or anything, but flat brushes like this are great for cutting your crease. You can get a very precise line, especially with that rounded edge. It's super nice. Same with this. I actually like this one because the bristles are softer, I feel like. We're actually going to use this, but the bristles are softer, and I feel like it just helps. I'm going to put a inner corner highlighter on. I just feel like it helps pick up a shimmer really well. Okay, I'm also going to go into a little bit of Jawbreaker, just to lighten it up just a tad. But it's the same shape, flat, and I call it a packing brush. I don't know if that's the actual name, but you just kind of swipe the product on the brush like that, and it ends up packing onto the brush really nicely, and then you can just take it and place the product either by tapping it or swiping it on, and it goes on so nicely. I just think it's absolutely perfect. I don't usually use powders to do my brows, but if you're going to, I feel like this one is probably, this shape is probably the best for that. Lots of different brands make them. This one is like, it says angled eyeliner, but I don't think this is the greatest for liner. I think just Arts and Crafts set, the smallest one you can find. I think this one's better for brows. But this one's Wet n Wild. I'm pretty sure this came in like a set from Wish or something. But yeah, this is gonna be so wrong because I don't have a brow powder. But again, that's one of those things. You don't necessarily need a brow powder. You just need to find an eyeshadow that matches the color of your brows. I'm not sure if I have one. I don't really care enough to go digging for one, so we're just going to use the one that I have right here because it's the ashiest brown I see. I like my brows a little ashier. I don't like mine warm. I think warm looks weird. I think your hair naturally has like an ashy undertone. Call me crazy. I have fairly thick brows too, so it doesn't take too much to fill them in. Again, I don't usually use powders, so this one wouldn't really be a necessity for me. I wouldn't need this in my set. But if you're going to, I think this is the brush to do it with, because like you can see, I got a really nice arch on this eyebrow. And then something that I think is a must regardless is a spoolie. You can get them from Ulta or Sephora as samplers for like mascara, and just use them on your brows. Like, I did that for a long time. Just trying to get rid of that harsh line on the bottom. Like I said, I'm not really a brow powder person. I like my pencil. I think I get a very nice natural look. And it's not too harsh or anything with my pencil. But for the purpose of this video, I'm showing you what brush I think goes best for that. I got a little bit extra powder on my face today. Okay. Like I said, you know, if you wanted to cut your crease, that flat packing brush is great for either cutting or packing on the shimmery shadow. Okay, while my lashes are drying, I'll just talk about certain things that I think, okay? These are just my opinions. If you're just starting out and you need advice on what brushes to purchase because you don't have any and you need, you know, ideas, honestly, in my humble opinion, all you need are about 3 or 4 brushes. This is all you need, in my opinion. You can, I mean, it depends on how much you're willing to work to make it work, but you can use this to both cut your crease and pack on a shimmer. You can use this to line your lids, or you can use this to do your eyeliner, but you know, if you want to do any kind of like graphic designs on your eye, you can also, you know, clean this off and do that. This is going to give you a nice precise line. If you want to do something like kind of precise but still blended, it's going to give you that. This is what that is for. It's going to help you. And then this brush. It's not the biggest blending brush, but that's okay, because then you can start off more precise and work your way out and blend it out as you go, and you're not going to get color more than where you want. You're going to have a more targeted area, and it's going to be more what you want than if you had this and you wanted something a little more toned in. I honestly think these 4 are going to be the main ones for your eye that you're going to need. If we're talking eyes, these 4. If it comes down to it, you don't even need these. You could just use your fingers. But if you're trying to be sanitary, these 4 are probably going to be your greatest tools. They are going to be your biggest assets, because you can use all of these for multi-use. Like, you can get multiple different uses out of these 4 brushes, and that's why I think they would be the most useful in your kit. If you're broke and you want to start freelancing and you just need a bunch of brushes to start off, get like 5 of these, and 5 of these, and 5 of these, and 5 of these. Now you may use 2 of these in one look, or 2 of these in one look, but I think these would be the most useful for you. If you're looking for, you know, all of them, then I think these would be the most useful. Like if you just wanted a separate one for each. Maybe add one of these in there just so you can have a separate one for cutting your crease, and then you don't gotta rush to wash off your brush after putting concealer on it. These 7 brushes are like going to be your holy grails, get you through the whole look. I feel like this would suffice in the beginning. Okay, for face, we haven't even done my highlighter. Let's get some highlighter on this biche. Let's just go in with the jawbreaker. Why not? Why not? Do a crazy dance. Why not? Why not? If you still wanted to use that one brush to cut your crease and wash it off and then use it to put on the shimmery shadow or whatever other shadow, and then you would still have this one left, you could use it to put on lipstick, because I know if you're a freelancer, you don't use lipstick right out of the tube. So that is another option. I think that would work if you're really just trying to get by on what you had to have or what you really just needed to have. I think that would work. Okay. As far as face goes, again, brushes can be multi-use. You can use this for both your contour and your bronzer, and heck, even if you wanted to, you could, again, rinse it off or wash it off, or you know, scrub it off on a dry towel. That way you don't have to wait for it to dry. But like I said, wait for, you know, clean it off and then use it as a blush brush too, and then a highlighting brush. I think that a small brush, maybe that's what this is for. Use it as a highlighter and just get right in there. You don't need a very big brush to do highlighter, because I mean, you're just hitting very targeted areas. You don't need to get this big old, like if I had this to put on highlighter, my whole cheek would be shiny, and that doesn't make any sense, you know? So little bit goes a long way, and you know, if you're looking for something, this one would probably be the best multi-use, just because it's tapered enough that you could get the bronzer right, or the contour right on that line, blend it, and then get the bronzer on the tapered part and blend it, and then, you know, clean it off with a dry color switch or towel or whatever, and then do your blush. So all in all, if you bare minimum had to get brushes, I think this would be all you need in your kit. I know some of my brushes are dirty, but I'm just trying to give you an overview. This idea, like I said, came from my friend. She was doing my makeup, and she was talking about how she only owned like 3 brushes, And even though she only owned like 3 brushes, we were at my house and she was doing my makeup, and you know, I don't have like the most in the world, but I have enough for her to choose from and like get an idea of what she wants, and she still had no idea where to go from there, just because she had never had to use multiple brushes or never had the opportunity to. And let's face it, in high school, people weren't using brushes all the time. Back when I started, they didn't use brushes all the time. A lot of people use their fingers or those little white cotton swab thingies, whatever you want to call them. I think like Sigma and MAC are the only companies that had makeup brushes at all. I remember watching Jaclyn Hill and like her always talking about MAC, and like me being young and in high school, and like the average person, maybe a little broker, working a minimum wage job, deciding to go see what this MAC was about, and like almost like passing out by seeing the price, like $40 for this or that. Now it's not like as uncommon. A lot of brands, their average price for a palette is like $40, and MAC is somewhere around 40 to 60. But back then, seeing the price of like one shadow or something like literally took my breath away. I was like, Jesus, she's buying this and like separate this? Like she's just buying brushes at this price? Hell no. But brushes kind of like popped up within like the last 5 or 6 years where everybody was using them, and now it's like, you better use a brush or it's unsanitary and like blah 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 blah. It just wasn't a thing back when like I first fell in love with makeup. It just wasn't. So, you know, having a friend same age as me that does dabble in makeup, but like not to the point that I do, I can see where, you know, deciding what brush goes where, what works best with what, would be difficult, you know? So hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed this makeup look. Hopefully using these brushes on my face to do the things that I think that they are good for helped you out to see how they work. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but hopefully showing you on my own face how I think these brushes should be used will help you out, and you can see. Hopefully some of you are longtime subscribers and you have seen me use several of these brushes for the exact use that I'm telling you for. And like, I'm being completely honest with you. I'm just showing you how to use them and what I use them for, and you get an idea and you're like, that makes sense. But, you know, if not, I have plenty of videos down below for you to check out. I would love for you to subscribe and join my family. I will be doing a giveaway. At 500 subscribers. So if you do subscribe, you are automatically entered to win the giveaway. It'll be either a $40 palette and the blow dryer I got in my BoxyLux, or a Jeffree Star mystery box when those come out. And either one would be a definite win because a $40 palette, and that thing's $80-something. I mean, even if you didn't want it, you could sell it. So, and then the Jeffree Star mystery boxes are like $70. So, or the last mystery box I got was 70, and the one before that was 75. So either way, you're winning. Yeah, it's gonna come down to you guys. But yeah, if you enjoyed this makeup look, please give it a thumbs up. If you found this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Leave a comment letting me know what video you'd like to see next, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.